The Ellen DeGeneres show was a ritual for celebrities, and the celebrities didn't know that it was a ritual until it happened to them on stage. Watch this clip of Sandra Bullock and Ellen DeGeneres. I'll comment on their energy throughout the whole entire conversation, but you can tell Ellen is pressing Sandra, and Sandra looks like she's caught off guard by the question and why Ellen keeps poking at her to go deeper and deeper.
Let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain.
Watch her energy right here. She looks uncomfortable. She's
What it
like,
is.
oh God.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these. Some of you, I think many of you know it. And it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen, and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes. The
What are you
serum.
pushing into the skin, Sarah?
serum.
Sandra?
Ellen's taunting her right here. She's poking at her.
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person.
A young person. And then Ellen looks at her like, come on, keep going. Keep going.
Far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
Excuse me? Come again?
That's what it is.
Okay.
Who comes up with this?
I don't think. It's not like I'm lying there with little pieces all over my face. It's like.
Who thinks of collecting it and
Yeah.
having it for? We'll do something with this
And
someday.
why didn't we come up with that?
Right.
Yeah. And so we call it. I call it the penis facial, and I think.
She did the same exact thing to Justin Bieber. He looked caught off guard. Watch this next clip of Ellen asking Justin what his song Yummy was about. And if you're unaware, his music video Yummy was exposing what they're doing in Hollywood, the elites, the cannibalism, all the dark stuff.
Exactly. I mean, I think I know. Yeah. But what were you thinking of when you wrote that yummy?
Yeah. My sex life.
Okay. That's what I thought it was.
You can tell she's taunting him by the way she says what she says. She's like, I think I know what it's about, but I'm gonna let you explain. And then at the end she goes, that's what I thought it was. Another taunting tactic.
Why is it that every time a story is told about Ellen DeGeneres, it gets weirder and weirder? And why do I say that? Because there was a man who now claims that when he was a child, he was a guest on Ellen DeGeneres' show. And he claims to have seen her do some unhuman, scary, robotic stuff. So the individual in question at the time was a child prodigy chess player. And as you can see, this is an image from the show he was on. He was a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And the claim is that once he got off the set and went back to his dressing room, Ellen DeGeneres' door was open. He took a look in at the door. It was open enough that he could see inside. So he turned his head and he looked. And what he saw next really blew his mind. And his claim is that Ellen DeGeneres was eating a rotisserie chicken, similar to the ones you see behind me. Now, he alleges that what he saw next, she opened her mouth wide open, dislocated her jaw to fit the entire chicken in one bite. Let me repeat, his alleged claim is that she took a rotisserie chicken, opened her mouth wide, dislocated her jaw, and stuffed the entire chicken in her mouth and swallowed it in one shot, and then turned and looked directly at him, and then claims as she was staring at him, she made a hissing sound. He then proceeded to run to his dressing room and let his mother know what he just saw. His mother did not believe him. So my question to you is, do you believe what he said he saw? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I told y'all that Ellen was involved way more than we think in the Epstein files. Her name comes up almost 900 times. I knew it. She's one of the celebrities that talks about pizza, aka the code word, very much weirdly. Second of all, if you look at a picture of the satanic ritual house or whatever the fuck it is on Epstein's island next to Ellen's set, they look damn near fucking similar. The blue and the white, the palm trees, the white chairs, all of that. All these weird ass celebrities, Ellen had all of them on her show. She had Diddy on her show multiple times, even with kids sometimes. And we know a child star hates to see Ellen coming. A viral kid hates to see Ellen coming. We know that. If it's only one thing Ellen gonna do, it's gonna hype up a viral ass kid and bring him on the show. And have y'all seen the recent pictures of her that came out in the past couple months? She looked sick. She genuinely looks sick. It's like something's really stressing her out, like something's really weighing heavy on her. I don't care when nobody says I don't like Ellen. I've always been fucking suspicious of her. I told y'all, she's way more involved than we thought. To be honest, I think she might be up there with some of the top dogs of this shit. And that's not too far-fetched considering the people who take our school pictures are involved in this.
After packing up and moving her entire life to the UK in November 2024, Ellen has just quietly returned to the US with her wife Portia after purchasing a $27 million mansion in Montecito, California. This is the woman who less than a year and a half ago promised the world she was done with America. She left the day before the 2024 election, and once she landed in the English countryside, she made it clear she had no intention of returning while Trump was in the White House. The rural life, the chickens, the horses, the charming English villages. She spoke openly about how much she was enjoying it all. But now she's back. Even though Trump is still in office, her reputation is still in tatters, and the daytime empire that made her famous is long gone. If the last few years have revealed anything about Ellen DeGeneres, it's that the person the public thought they knew was never real. And once you start looking back at the people she surrounded herself with, the strange controversies tied to her show, and the darker stories that have followed her career, her return suddenly feels a lot more troubling. Ellen DeGeneres built one of the most dominant brands in television history on a single idea: be kind. The dancing, the giveaways, the sign-off at the end of every show that reminded millions of viewers to treat each other with decency. For nearly 2 decades, it worked. At its peak, the Ellen DeGeneres show was pulling close to 5 million viewers a day. Then in 2020, BuzzFeed published an expose. Current and former employees described a workplace built on racism, fear, and intimidation. An internal investigation was launched, and 3 senior producers were fired for racial insensitivity and sexual misconduct. But the producers weren't the only ones taking heat. Ellen herself was accused of being cold, dismissive, and at times outright cruel to the people around her, both on and off set.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Not long after, Ellen went on air, apologized, and promised things would change. The show limped on for 2 more years before she pulled the plug herself in 2022, framing it as a creative decision. Most people didn't buy it, and I've covered the full story in a previous video of mine. But the toxic workplace story, as damaging as it was, is actually the most straightforward part of Ellen's recent history. It's the part with a paper trail, named sources, and a corporate investigation. What's harder to explain has nothing to do with how she treated her staff. For years, Sean Combs was one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and one of Ellen's most frequent guests. He appeared on her show multiple times across its 19-year run, and the two were openly, publicly close.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Not long after, Ellen went on air, apologized, and promised things would change. The show limped on for 2 more years before she pulled the plug herself in 2022, framing it as a creative decision. Most people didn't buy it, and I've covered the full story in a previous video of mine. But the toxic workplace story, as damaging as it was, is actually the most straightforward part of Ellen's recent history. It's the part with a paper trail, named sources, and a corporate investigation. What's harder to explain has nothing to do with how she treated her staff. For years, Sean Combs was one of the most powerful men in the music industry, and one of Ellen's most frequent guests. He appeared on her show multiple times across its 19-year run, and the two were openly, publicly close.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
On the surface, it was lighthearted daytime TV. But as we now know, not all of Diddy's parties were the same. There were the ones everyone got invited to, and then there were the ones that happened later in the night, the so-called freak-offs. And judging by what Ellen said next, it's clear she knew more about them than the public did.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Nobody thought much of it at the time. It read as a joke. But in September 2024, when federal agents arrested Sean Combs on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, and prosecutors began laying out in court exactly what went on at those parties, that throwaway line took on a very different weight. The internet went back through everything, every appearance, every interview, every resurfaced post, and what they found didn't look good.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
But Diddy and Ellen's relationship went considerably deeper than the occasional talk show booking.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
On the surface, it was lighthearted daytime TV. But as we now know, not all of Diddy's parties were the same. There were the ones everyone got invited to, and then there were the ones that happened later in the night, the so-called freak-offs. And judging by what Ellen said next, it's clear she knew more about them than the public did.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Nobody thought much of it at the time. It read as a joke. But in September 2024, when federal agents arrested Sean Combs on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, and prosecutors began laying out in court exactly what went on at those parties, that throwaway line took on a very different weight. The internet went back through everything, every appearance, every interview, every resurfaced post, and what they found didn't look good.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not going to let you down on this big one.
But Diddy and Ellen's relationship went considerably deeper than the occasional talk show booking. In 2016, Ellen posted a birthday message to Combs on social media. It read, "Happy birthday P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnugglestuff. You don't need to know why. You don't earn a nickname like that from a working relationship." And once Diddy's crimes became a matter of public record, people began asking the question, what exactly did that friendship look like behind closed doors? When paparazzi caught up with Ellen in the months following Diddy's arrest and asked her directly about the allegations, she didn't stop or respond. She just glanced at the camera and got in her car.
Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times. Have a good night. Have you been to his parties?
Ellen has never publicly addressed her friendship with Diddy since his arrest. Not a statement, not an interview, not a post, nothing. But Diddy isn't the only controversial name that surfaced in connection with her. Right now, in 2026, the Jeffrey Epstein story is still unraveling. The Department of Justice has released over 3.5 million pages of documents, flight logs, internal emails, photographs, names, and what's emerging is a world where some of the most powerful and famous people on the planet were in very close proximity to one of the worst sex trafficking operations in modern history. Presidents, royals, billionaires. The documents keep pulling new names into the orbit. All of this renewed scrutiny has brought people back to a moment from a Joe Rogan podcast episode from May 2025. The guest was Aaron Rodgers, four-time NFL MVP and one of the most decorated quarterbacks in the history of the sport. The conversation covered a lot of ground, but one of the moments that got clipped everywhere had nothing to do with football.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
What Rodgers was pointing to was a visual comparison that had been circulating in conspiracy circles for years, but had never broken into the mainstream. Side by side, the blue and white striped temple that sat on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in the US Virgin Islands, and the backdrop of the Ellen DeGeneres show set. The colors, the stripes, the architectural shape. Similar enough that once you saw it, it was difficult to unsee. Rogan wasn't convinced, but the clip spread anyway, gaining a lot of traction on social media. And the reason it landed so hard wasn't really about architecture. It was about the fact that by 2025, enough had already emerged about Ellen that people were no longer willing to give her the benefit of the doubt on anything. Now, the Epstein connection may be nothing more than a visual coincidence, but the next two names on this list aren't a visual comparison. They're people who were directly in Ellen's world, and both of them died within the space of 4 months. To understand the first name on this list, we have to roll the clock back 30 years. In 1997, Ellen DeGeneres did something that had never been done on American primetime television. She came out, not just as herself, but through her character on her sitcom, in front of millions of viewers.
I'm 35 years old. I'm so afraid to tell people. I mean, Susan, I'm gay.
Around the same time, she started dating Anne Hesh, one of Hollywood's hottest rising stars, fresh off major films opposite Harrison Ford and Robert De Niro. Anne hadn't been publicly out, and by going public with Ellen, she came out to the entire world at once. She risked everything: her career, her reputation, her safety, and she lost it all. Anne was blacklisted, lost major movie roles, and became a tabloid target. Ellen, on the other hand, had already made her decision to come out on her own terms. Her sitcom was cancelled, but she was already navigating her comeback. Anne became part of that story, the visible girlfriend who proved Ellen was living authentically. While Ellen used the attention to rebuild her brand, Anne was left dealing with the brutal backlash alone. The difference was simple. Ellen had chosen this moment and had the career capital to weather it. Anne had walked into someone else's story and paid the price for it. And behind closed doors, she was discovering something that would eventually destroy them. Ellen wasn't just ambitious, she was obsessed with gaining wealth and power. While Anne had given up everything to find real human connection, Ellen's focus was on creating an empire. The brand deals, the real estate portfolio, the path to becoming one of the wealthiest people in entertainment. Their relationship lasted 3 years. Anne has said the final breaking point came when she wanted children and a family, and Ellen wasn't interested. Her priority was building her brand, not building a life.
You broke up with her because she had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because...
I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet.
When they split in 2000, Anne had to start over from nothing, while Ellen launched the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2003 and eventually built a fortune. And years later, Anne still hadn't softened on any of it.
When you look at somebody like Ellen, who literally is sitting on a pile of $60 billion and then
could feed countries,
right? And then
but you got a Porsche.
I mean, you're not hurting. You live beautifully.
Wait, that's really funny. I just noticed that. Sorry, I have to put a pin in it. I realized that Ellen drove and then she married one. The hilarious thing is that all she wanted was money, and then she ends up marrying a person named Portia. Portia even asked me about Ellen before, Portia came to my wedding because I was on an Ally McBeal with her, and Portia even said, I'm going to go after Ellen. I know you're not. I'm like, but you won't be the poster child, girl, because guess what? That poster child has already been taken. And by the way, it wasn't a great spot. But yours ain't going to be any easier. And I'm telling you now, like, red flag, red flag, red flag.
What makes the timing so uncomfortable uncomfortable is that this conversation, where she's openly picking apart Ellen's entire life, took place not long before Anne Hesh died. On August 5th, 2022, Anne was driving through the Mar Vista neighborhood of Los Angeles. Witnesses described her car accelerating sharply, slamming into a garage, backing out, and then veering at high speed into a residential home. The car buried itself inside the structure. Both the vehicle and the house caught fire. It took firefighters nearly an hour to reach her inside the burning wreckage.
Actress Anne Heche remains in a coma after that fiery car crash. Her condition is far worse than originally believed. Oh my gosh! According to her spokesperson, she's in critical condition and on a ventilator. Her burns will require surgical intervention, and she has significant pulmonary injury.
The moment she lurched out of the body bag sent the world into a spiral. She was conscious at that point, sitting up and struggling, but lost consciousness shortly after the ambulance doors closed. Tragically, she never regained it. She was taken off life support on August 14th and was declared brain dead 6 days later. She was 53 years old. The official cause of death was smoke inhalation, thermal injuries, and a sternal fracture sustained in the impact. The incident was ruled an accident, with no evidence of impairment at the time of the crash. It left behind a real sense of unease. A woman who'd spent years being vocal about what Ellen had cost her, dead before she turned 54, with her most candid interview about it still fresh. And 4 months later, Twitch was gone too. Stephen, Twitch boss, had been part of The Ellen Show since 2014. He started as the resident DJ and eventually became co-executive producer, and for millions of viewers, he was the reason the show felt alive. He wasn't just in the background. He was out there every single day dancing with Ellen, matching her energy, and keeping the whole thing moving. When guests came on, when the audience needed warming up, or when Ellen needed someone to bounce off, Twitch was always there. Then 2020 happened. When the toxic workplace scandal broke, Twitch was caught in an impossible position. His name and face were inseparable from the show, the same show that former employees were now describing as a nightmare built on fear and intimidation. He couldn't walk away without burning everything he'd spent years building, so he stayed. He wasn't just in the background. He was out there every single day dancing with Ellen, matching her energy, and keeping the whole thing moving. When guests came on, when the audience needed warming up, or when Ellen needed someone to bounce off, Twitch was always there. Then 2020 happened. When the toxic workplace scandal broke, Twitch was caught in an impossible position. His name and face were inseparable from the show, the same show that former employees were now describing as a nightmare built on fear and intimidation. He couldn't walk away without burning everything he'd spent years building, so he stayed. He stood by it publicly, saying, "Obviously there's some things to address, but from my standpoint and from countless others, there's been love." He was out there smiling and dancing every day for a woman whose entire reputation was collapsing around her, and according to people close to him, the weight of that took a serious toll. When the show finally ended in May 2022, Twitch had quietly hoped to take over as host, according to his wife Alison Holker. However, after months of conversations with the network went nowhere, that dream fell apart. The show he'd defended through its darkest chapter was over, and there was nothing waiting on the other side of it. In the months that followed, something shifted in him. He was struggling in ways he hadn't let anyone fully see, even those closest to him, like his mother, Connie.
Connie last texted with Stephen on Monday, December 12, 2022. She says it was an ordinary conversation. They talked about work and his children's Christmas list. The next morning, Connie says, she got a phone call from his wife, Alison Holker, asking if she had heard from him. Hours later, he was found dead in a hotel room with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Connie's brother, Alan, told her the terrible news.
And I just remember Alan saying, "Connie, he's gone." And I just dropped.
Twitch was 40 years old, with a wife, 3 kids, and seemingly everything to live for. His death was a complete shock to the system for everyone who knew him.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say the past 11 days have been really tough for everyone. Everyone is in pain and trying to make sense of it, and we never make sense of it. But to honor Twitch, I think the best thing that we can do is to laugh and hug each other, and play games and dance and sing. That's the way we honor him.
In her 2025 memoir, Alison claimed Twitch had been hiding a drug problem she knew nothing about, and that after his death, she found what she described as a cornucopia of substances in his closet, including mushrooms, pills, and substances she claimed she had to look up on her phone. His family disputed that account publicly, and his autopsy found nothing in his system at the time of his death. But if there was one thing everyone agreed on, it was this. Twitch had seemed completely fine, right up until he wasn't. While all of this was unfolding, the workplace scandal, the deaths, the unsavory associations, Ellen's focus was split. Because behind the scenes, she was running an entirely different operation, one that was making her boatloads of money.
You're fucking telling me it was right in front of our eyes this entire time? We all know her name was all over those files, but here's where things get weird. Because in one of her final episodes, she basically said everything she needed to say. Just watch this.
Shark Tank, of course, it's been on a long time, and you can kind of tell by what they're falling for now.
Our company's Boom Boom, and we're seeking $300,000 in exchange for 10% of our business. Sharks, we have a new best friend for your nose. Tropical Rush is our best seller. There's a base of menthol and peppermint in all of them.
Woo! Woo!
There you go.
That's really good.
Next week on Shark Tank, an intervention.
Now I see why her show got fucking canceled, because she was making fun of something that helped one of her own friends, like Steve Harvey, completely turn his life around.
Sadly, you know, not too many people focus on the cure. I had sleep apnea, waking up, not breathing 2-3 times a night, right? They gave me some high blood medication. They gave me a CPAP machine. I started sleeping on a CPAP machine. Horrible, I hated it. It was just horrible. Because of this, I'm off CPAP. I don't sleep with that. I no longer take high blood medication. I'm rested. I'm sharper. My mental focus has come back.
Steve was talking about how for years he was struggling with things like mouth breathing, chronic snoring, and even sleep apnea, all because of a blockage in his nasal pathways. How this natural remedy was the only thing that helped him with all those issues. After doing some digging, this is what he was talking about. It's called the Boom Boom Stick. It's got this perfect combination of menthol and essential oils, where the menthol is gonna help open up those nasal pathways, and the essential oils will help keep them open so you can actually breathe. Now I'm someone that always had to deal with allergies or couldn't properly breathe through both nostrils, but this was probably the easiest thing I had to do to just open me up. And they're actually very easy to use. You just unscrew the cap and then you just yes. And ever since the clip of Ellen bashing them went viral, they have been going crazy. Even Shark Tank admitted this is one of their biggest regrets in terms of not investing. It's been damn near impossible to get my hands on one of these, but they just did a restock a couple days ago and it looks like they're already gonna sell out again. So if you can still see an orange box right there, I would run and grab them.
This is gonna sound like a lie, okay? But my sister and I have been saying for years before all of the Epstein files came out, that Ellen eats babies. Somewhat in like a partially joking way, but we also were like, there's something weird about her. She probably eats babies. We felt it like in our bones, like our intuition was popping off. I wonder if I can find any old texts as proof. One second. Okay, I found this in my text, just straight up. And that was from 2024. This is another conversation from 2024. And right there. I know there's more, but that's all I could find. But how weird is that? And I know that joke has gone further back, like in person. Those are just the dates I could find in my phone. I've probably been saying that about her for like 10 years.
You guys, I can't tell what's real anymore. Okay, I heard Ellen DeGeneres was in the Epstein files for being a cannibal, and I looked it up to see if it was true. I am believing everything, and I am at a point where in America I'm going, what is going on? Because would I be mad if she was doing that? I mean, you can't be eating people and being mean to the PAs under that, okay? What is going on? We gotta fix stuff. We gotta fix stuff so I'm not Googling, is Ellen DeGeneres in the Epstein files because she's a cannibal? Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Insane. It just gets more and more crazy and insane. I'm gonna move. And when you read this, just read it and look at it yourself. I'm gonna move. Ready? Did you read it? These people are demons. Demons. all these names, nobody's getting charged. Nobody's even getting mentioned to be indicted. We are dealing with an entity here that is 100% demonic. You wonder why her DJ mysteriously committed, yeah. Anne Hesh, remember that one? I think she has something to do with it also. This is insane. If you like my content, like,
Early this morning, when you knock